welcome to Talks on Tuesday. I'm Chelsea, and my co-hosts are Barbara, Mary, and Julie is traveling and probably coming back from a trip to LA, her hometown, or sorting through jet lag. But we wish you well, Julie. We miss you. And today's topic is living without expectation. And I've been given this some thought, and I think it's extremely, extremely difficult to live without any expectation. And I think we all, in a way, strive for that. But I think I've decided this morning what is more important is with whatever comes, say living with expectation is like climbing up the mountain. You wake up, you start your day, you know you're headed somewhere. But I think maybe what's most important is how, once you reach the top of that hill or that mountain, how do you come down with what you find? If maybe you find a little bit of disappointment in some way with what you expected throughout your day, but how do you handle what is in the now once you find it? I think more rolling with the punches and being okay with how it all kind of plays out. And I kind of listened to a little bit of Rupert Spira this morning, one of his talks on YouTube pertaining to the direct path to enlightenment. And one thing he was really talking about is, the seeking of enlightenment or the no expectation, I just want to be the I am. That's all my goal is for the day. But we still come across experiences, and it's how we react to those experiences that really matters. And it's just remembering, and Rupert reminded me of this, the experiences really have nothing to do with the true core of what you are. They're just the texture of what's happening in your day, and you are the happiness you seek. You're already fulfilled in that way, and maybe you have an experience and, ooh, that doesn't exactly make me happy, but I'm just going to roll with it. And a lot of good things in our life come from unexpected things. So there's still value in the disappointment. There's a lot of learning there in the disappointment of not exactly getting what you expected. Does that resonate with any of you guys? Go ahead, Mary.
Yeah, and well, we've all been disappointed by our expectations in a lot of ways. Like, for girls, it's like, oh, I'm going to meet Prince Charming. I'm going to marry him and have a perfect life. Yeah, untrue. And this topic came from Renee, because she had put in a little note to us that we make plans and the gods laugh. And that's about, it's business of planning everything. And every time I make a plan, it's an opportunity for disappointment. And it's not that you shouldn't plan, it's just that you should know that this is a shifting outline. And that takes a lot of faith in the universe, that what manifests is what's good for me. And I've mentioned before the trip I took to England, and with like 5 years ago, the first 2 hours off the plane, I fell and broke my leg. And it was a completely different trip than I had planned. But that didn't mean it was a bad one. I learned a lot. I met really nice people. But it certainly, plans were gone, just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome, Doreen. We're just, to recap, we're just talking about the ever-present broad topic of living without expectations. We probably drive ourselves a little crazy with that when maybe we don't really have to. I mean, if you think about it, there's so many little expectations.
Yeah.
You know, I expect I'm going to be able to walk down the hallway to my coffee pot and pour my coffee this morning. You just they're kind of built in.
Yeah, it would be kind of
Go ahead,
crazy.
Barbara.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. Finish up, Mary.
I was just thinking it would be crazy to be walking down the hall saying, gosh, I'm going to get a cup of coffee, but I'm waiting for what else manifests.
Giant pot of tea.
Ooh.
Well, that actually made me think about a comment my husband made. I had made some coconut rice the other night for, I'm sorry, not coconut. We had coconut shrimp on Sunday night, and I made some rice that I put onions and peppers and some pineapple in to go along with the coconut shrimp. And he took some for lunch yesterday, and he made a comment about the rice at lunch. And I couldn't quite remember what it was. I just knew he made some comment. And I was thinking about that as I pulled the rice out a little earlier to have it for my lunch. And it's like, what was he saying about that rice? Did he say he didn't like it? He said he liked it. I couldn't quite remember. And I heated it up, and just as I'm getting ready to take a bite, I realized, yeah, he had added some peaches to it and a little peach juice and said, oh, it was so good. And that's like totally different than what I would have done. I mean, I just heated it up and then put a little bit of cheese on it. So sweet versus savory. But it's like, okay, whatever, whatever he thought about it, I'm going to enjoy it just the way it is and the way I want it. So, again, those kind of like little expectations and or not.
Yeah.
Just carrying those things during the day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole thing, there's little expectations for little things like going down the hall to get that coffee and it's going to be there for you. Or it might be, I don't know, the expectations of a relationship, the expectations of getting a new position at your job, the expectations that everyone in your family is going to be fine and living forever. There's all kinds of things. In my own life history, I think that the biggest one for me was the just expectations of other people. And I was so often like mad or angry, destitute, or depressed, all these things. Oh, I did tons of stuff for this person and they just didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I said, what'd be so hard to say thank you? What's wrong with you? That kind of stuff. So anyway, that happened in increments. I think Chelsea's right. You can't get over expectations 100%. I don't think you can, unless you're, Paramahansa Yogananda or something. Maybe he's good. I don't know. But I've improved immensely. And I think a lot of it has to do with consciously applying things I've learned over life and the decades I've lived now. It's been a fairly long time. And I really had a test a couple of weeks ago where it would have just upset me terribly, a couple of years ago even. And I had planned to move from San Diego to Asheville because it was going to be more affordable. I studied Asheville for a good 6 months and I kept checking every box. I couldn't believe it. This was going to be perfect. So I was going to go there in April. I had a good friend that lived nearby. He was so excited. He told me how much he loved me. He couldn't wait for me to be around. He was going to take me around and show me. He would take time off from work. He said there was a place that we could stay. I mean, it was just, everything was perfect. Well, as you know, Hurricane Helene came along. Where in the hell did that come from? In Asheville. It doesn't happen. So it destroyed Asheville. I'm so sorry for the people there. So my any upset I had was didn't compare at all. But again, it was something I kept looking on YouTube at reports and everything. And as I did that, gradually I let it go. And so now okay, I'm open to, I told the universe, I said, I am so open to wherever you lead me. I tried to take a certain path that didn't work. I'm not quite sure what to do now. Just lead the way. I will trust you. And I think that has a lot to do with expectations too, just to trust and things will be okay. One other thing I want to share real quick. Last Saturday, I attended a Gaia channeling conference. I don't know if any of you attended that, but it was an all-day conference of all these different channelers. And I haven't really, looked at channeling that much. I knew about Abraham and all that, but I tell you, by the end of that, I realized there was just so much to learn in the universe, but also about just, yourself and what you can do and where you can go and who you are and just so much there. And it's interesting, after what, 6, 7 hours of that, I went to the store and people were suddenly smiling at me everywhere. I said, what, do I have some kind of aura here? What is this? I just had to say that story. So, and I didn't expect that, a lot of good things can come our way too, based on what we're up to. So anyway, yeah, it's a growth process. And the key point for me in Chelsea's opening was that you just can't not have a zero expectations ever. You just don't know. If you're walking down the street and you happen to step in dog crap, well, you're going to get upset maybe. All right, that's it. Thanks.
It's how you handle the moment of being upset and where you go with it. If you go into victimhood or whatever. Your story, Gino, reminded me your story of, going online and reading as much as you could about a certain place you might want to live and you were trying to gain knowledge to feel to make your decision. And it kind of reminds me of when I first moved in with my grandpa, and he was doing pretty well, and I could, find a part-time job. And at the time, it was like Starbucks was the top 10 place to work in the United States. And the internet was full of how Starbucks was just such a wonderful place to work. And so I worked there for about 6 months. And in reality, probably nothing about working at Starbucks was really that great. And it's like I'd made that decision based on knowledge, and I don't know if I really made it based on maybe just listening to my heart. But I think it lasted about maybe 6 or 9 months, and I ended up quitting one day on a whim. My boss, I was probably like 48 at the time, and my boss was probably 20. She just irritated the heck out of me, and I just walked out and quit. But
Yeah.
my expectation was, oh, this is such a great place to work, but nothing was actually really true about that for me, because I was on my life path. And
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think it's just more how we deal with the disappointment. And anybody else, go ahead and unmute and raise your hand if you'd like to jump in.
Louis Therese.
Go ahead, Louis.
You're still muted.
Now,
Good.
Uh-huh.
good.
Perfect.
I wanted to begin by saying I hear everything and I agree mostly with it. But on my age, I have found a little secret, and that is what you are doing today is the building blocks of tomorrow. And what you are taking care of today is what is going to happen in your future. It is just the building blocks, just as school from the one standard to the next. But from there, it varies quite a lot. And the world and your life expectations can vary very much. But what you need to learn will come on your way. And I would say it is good to have expectations and not just to accept the day as it is, because then you are going to drift on the ocean without any real goal to achieve. And I would say it is also very good to manifest what you really want and be in that moment that you manifest, and not for tomorrow, but see it for today. And I just feel it is such an important thing, but you must be hands-on with every moment of your life. You must live life as it is, what it is giving you in the moment. And then you must really try to put aside all negativity. And if there is negativity, see what is the lesson that you must learn from that, and try not to do the same so that that lesson don't come again. So that's what I would like to share. It's difficult, I know, but I don't think I can put myself really over in the words that I want to express and everything. But I feel you have to live every day with a goal in your heart. And every day is the building blocks for tomorrow. Whatever.
Yeah, I totally agree with you as far as it's so hard to experience life, be these human beings, and not have some kind of expectations about something, whether it's minuscule like the coffee, or what's this rice going to taste like, or whether it's something big like I want to move to Asheville, like you were saying, Gino, or whatever. And I think that's part of what we're doing here, is to experience these kind of rolling situations, and then how we respond to them, I think, is also key. And whether we generate a lot of anger, and sometimes you can't help but just get frustrated or angry about something, because I stubbed my toe and it hurts, and I'm angry because I kicked the bed or whatever. But then roll with it, and then it's like, okay, it's done, it's over. Or if it's something a little bit more important in your life, like not being able to move to a place that now is destroyed by a hurricane, okay, I can sit down, I'm disappointed, I can feel that and realize that and accept it, and like let it pass through me, the sadness or whatever. And then okay, let's look at what's going to be next, and then maybe give it up and ask for the universe's guidance or whatever. I think it's all okay, as long as, to me, all that feels like going with the flow versus the resistance,
Yeah.
pushing back and generating a lot of more turmoilous or negative energy is I think what then becomes cumbersome. So Mary, I saw you had your hand up.
Yeah, it's pretty much, there's just this semantic difference between goals and expectations. We all have goals, and they come with expectations. Like Gino had a goal of moving to North Carolina because he expected it to be a perfect place, and it became an imperfect place. So that couldn't be the goal anymore. But we need goals, we need to plan. But I think it's just like a shift in perception, that things may not manifest the way I anticipate, and I have to be ready to roll, to not see it as a punishment or anyone else's bad ill will. It's just the way things come to pass sometimes, that our goals are not fulfilled. So I get a new goal. I replace it with something of right intent, that may be what's next. Maybe it's just the universe is telling us, let's refine that goal of yours a little bit. Let's work on that. And if Renee is right, we make plans and the gods laugh. I think it's a kind laughter. It's not a yet laughter.
Mary, you brought up the word that came to mind, even going back to when Gina was sharing his stories, and it kind of continued through when as I was listening to everyone else's, and that word is anticipation. And I know that we had a chat a couple chats ago where we talked about the two words, gratitude and appreciation. And I think it's really helpful because otherwise everyone's talking and defining one word as all these different things. But I think it's sometimes it's helpful to say, well, what's expectation and what's anticipation? Because I think for me, they're two different things. And for me, expectation has some elements of control. I want to control this. And anticipation is just pure heart. Like, I just anticipate this, and whatever the details are, the details are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Duran. And actually, that's what I was thinking when I was listening to Gino also. It's like, oh, I can't wait to see where you do end up. You know, what's next?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more of the story.
Really good perspectives today. Thank you, everyone. I always like to remind myself that I don't have the higher view. I don't have the higher perspective. I don't see what higher intelligence, source, love, whatever you want to call it. Eric calls it the big watermelon in the sky, whatever you want to call it. It has a much higher view and a much broader perspective than I could ever have. So I have to consider that, yes, I might be interested in having something unfold, but sometimes I have to say that in my own life, things have come to me that I never, ever expected. I never had any iota of any plan in my mind. I never even had the understanding or the awareness that I was capable of doing things that wound up becoming so expanding and so much greater than I could have imagined I had the capacity to create or to be a part of. And for that, I must say that I would prefer to not have sort of this very finite defined plan. Yes, you have to sort of understand maybe where the compass might be leading you, but I'm much more of an open-ended, open-handed kind of, that's my approach to living. Okay, the day-to-day details have to be attended to, but I really have to say that I'm incredibly grateful for those experiences in my life that I had no idea that they would show up and how they unfolded. It sometimes seemed as though everything was already lined up before I even got there. All I had to do was be willing to go along with the plan. And while I was doing that, I would always be thinking, this is unbelievable. Like this guy gets sent in, or all of a sudden I'm given an opportunity to cut expenses that would have been twice as expensive because the right person showed up. And it's totally amazing. And I know those times are blessed, and I know that they're divinely guided. And I wish I could find a way to uncover more of them, but they really are blessings in a way which I could never, ever plan. So just most recent one, I had a consultation with the specialist on Monday. And when I sat in her office for a couple minutes and she kind of eventually popped in, she said, well, there's nothing wrong with you. Couldn't find anything. So there I was lying under anesthesia, ready to be undergoing surgery, and there was nothing to remove. Well, thank you. Thank God, you know, I couldn't have asked for a much better blessing than that. So yeah, I laughed a lot, and that was pretty amazing that that's the way it all turned out, but thank God it did. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Yeah, it really feels, Renee, that you're just, I feel like you're sitting in the seat of yourself right now, and it's just beautiful to see. And in a lot of ways, Renee kind of described like a open to what's happened, uh, you know, knowing that higher power has your back. And Louis Therese kind of a little bit more of an intention on maybe the day, but I think anywhere in that spectrum is good and good for you on your journey. And I think what we all have in common is we can all just be happy with what is ultimately. Yeah. With the outcome or the lesson learned from it. But go ahead, Louis Therese.
I want to say to Renee, what she is receiving is what the universe is giving to her back, because that is what she had already previously give purely from her heart. And that is the way of the universe. It's giving on the most unexpected moment when you need it from the most unexpected person. So keep on giving from your heart, and the universe flow will continue. That's all.
That's beautiful. It just receive and let our hearts grow with the love we, you know, just even being with all you guys today. Just, I feel it. I feel my heart is a little bigger. So thanks for joining us today. I think it's time to wrap it up a bit. Um, next week, same time, same place, and feel free to find our YouTube channel and like it and go through and listen in your earphones while you're doing the dishes or whatever. And we'll see you. Actually, I'll be gone next week. I'll be at the Reconnective Healing Training Program with Cecilia in Toronto, but I'll watch it in replay. Love you guys.
Bye-bye. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.